Three, two, one, go. All right, I'll go ahead and deafen them. And we got it.
And we're off. Okay. Gonna roll up the volume on Yom's stream. He should have his own mic muted, so all we're hearing is game audio. And that should be pretty well balanced. So, how have you been? It's been a couple of weeks since the first round of the tournament, which went pretty well for you, especially. I know you're looking forward to playing against IMEC later.
Yeah, running today. A few things happened. I think you even mentioned it beforehand. IMEC took the record from Yom, which is we didn't really expect it to happen. We knew it was going to come, eventually a new record was going to happen, but IMEC's been playing so much recently. We've all just been trying to get lower and lower, and he just got like a whole, a minute and 20 seconds off of Yom's time?
I think
Which...
Yom's time was something like 28:30 something, and then IMEC's time was 27:13 or something along those lines. Once again, you can do exclamation point leaderboard to be taken to the speedrun.com page where no doubt I will be corrected, but it is awesome to see that things are so open to change behind the scenes. And there is still room for the run to be tightened up theoretically, right? So if you get like the absolute perfect level geometry on a random seed, or you manage to evade the enemies just well enough that you don't get blocked by geomancers, take unnecessary deaths, that kind of stuff. But IMEC's run looked pretty tight from what I saw.
Yeah, it was good. This was the first run where we got really good luck, and there was no no mistakes almost at all. Like he made like small 1 second mistakes, but nothing like big. It was really good.
Let's talk about what our runners are going to be looking for right now, because of course they're heading to pick up the vendor from Creeper Woods, or at least Yom is. I'm not sure if we saw Birdi do the same, or if Birdi is just making his way through a different part of the level. Remember, once again, folks, that these runs are going to be timed by the loadless time, because some people have different hardware, and the loading times shouldn't really be factored into a fair competition like this. So potentially you're going to see the runners have different times on the clock, but be at different areas of the level.
Yeah, Immortals is doing the riskier strat. No, Immortals. Birdi is doing the riskier strategy, taking no vendor at all. So he's saving like 45 seconds. This is kind of like the YOLO strat that we do. This is how IMEC got his record. Statistically, Yom could get like a better time, but it's extremely hard. We have to get like 3 boots instead of 2 boots on this to save the 45 seconds we lose in level 1. But this Yom's doing the much safer strategy. So Birdi's just hoping for a boot right now.
So the items they're looking for out of Creeper Woods would be any armor that has swift-footed, or there's a couple of other enchantments that can increase your speed depending on the circumstances, but Swiftfoot arguably the best one. Boots of Swiftness, which can be obtained from a pig towards the end of the level, or from the loot chest you get at the very end for completing a level. You'll see Yom coming up to the pig right now. It looks like Birdi has already picked up an armor, which doesn't seem to have Swiftfoot on it, but potentially they're going to get weapons and stuff as well that can increase their power level, which is going to be useful later on.
Yeah, I don't know what Birdi got, but I didn't see any of them got a boot, so no artifact from the pig at all. That means they can't get double boot or double dog bone, which is what we kind of hope for here.
Yeah. Yeah, so at the end of Creeper Woods, you can either have a Deathcap Mushroom, a Boot of Swiftness, or a Tasty Bone. The Tasty Bone will summon a wolf pet that will give you a bit of an advantage in combat. The Boots of Swiftness are obviously the fastest one. They give you Swiftness effect for a few seconds. And Deathcap Mushroom makes you slightly faster and makes you attack slightly faster as well.
Oh yeah, Birdi does have Swiftfoot, that's really good. That's what he needs to keep a butt in front of Yom. He's already 45 seconds in front of him, but if he doesn't get a boot, he's done. There's almost no chance. But he got exactly what he needed. Insanely lucky.
Yeah, the Swiftfoot didn't show up on the armor originally because you need to have gained enough experience in order to enchant something. You basically need to have leveled up your character once, which neither of them have had the opportunity to do since this is the first level. They skipped the tutorial level, which is normally where you level up and learn about enchantments and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Birdi getting that armor actually pretty clutch, because that allows Swiftfoot to be activated before you finish the level if you kill enough enemies beforehand. Let's see what Birdi gets from the chest. It's a Deathcap Mushroom, so not the worst thing that could have happened, but...
Okay, now Yom really needs a boot, and he can also get something from the vendor. He could get like some Swiftfoot armor to catch up to Birdi. He really needs. He can't have 2 dog bones here because he would lose a ton of time. So he's hoping for something decent.
Well, he has a Death Cap Mushroom, which is better than nothing, and looks like he can't buy the Scatterbow from the vendor quite yet, but he's looking to trash a couple of his items so he can get hold of that. Looks like it has Fuse Shot, might be the best enchantment he's looking at there.
Oh yeah, that's a really good bow. That's gonna help him save time on Birdie here. Birdie still has Swiftfoot, so he's gonna keep moving faster and faster throughout the level. It's just like it saves 11 seconds per minute. So Yam has just the fight to catch up with, but Birdie will be gaining a little bit of time until the next level, that is.
Yeah, both players moving into Cacti Canyon here, and Cacti Canyon, a pretty combat-heavy level. You basically just have to reach the end where there is the entrance to the Desert Temple, which is going to be basically the run decider, more or less. It has a couple of very important artifacts that are necessary for some pretty good strats throughout the rest of the run, but in the meantime, they have to make their way through Cacti Canyon, where there are a couple of mandatory ambushes that you can't get past, a couple of areas where you have to fight your way through mobs just to get a key to a certain door, and Yom already taking a death pretty early in this because he just doesn't have the speed to get away from some of those faster mobs.
Yeah, the speed here, we usually always have a boot on this level, and not having a boot just makes it so you get smacked by these baby zombies all around, and you can't move, you're just not having a good time, getting walled off constantly.
Yeah. Despite the fact that most of our runners here will have done a little bit of tournament practice, most of the time when you don't get a boot going out of Creeper Woods, you just reset. It is unlikely that you're going to be on world record pace if you don't have at least 1 boot, if not 2, coming out of Creeper Woods.
Yeah, it also just makes the game a lot harder if you don't have the boot on. It's just not fun. It takes so much longer than you think it would.
Being able to escape these mobs is often a much better solution than fighting them. It's certainly faster. Even if you're playing casually, you might just want to run straight through half of these enemies instead of stopping to fight them.
I think Birdie just got a unique drop from an actual mob, and that's like a 1 in 1,000, I think. So
yeah.
Very good drop. That's
a lot
gonna help him a lot.
A lot of the time when players get unique items, it's going to be from loot chests and occasionally the pig. But once again, the chances of mobs dropping them are pretty darn high. So
yeah,
that's
unique. Not unique. So that's gonna be so hard to get from just standard enemies.
That's pretty good luck for Birdie. Yom having a hard time with the Geomancers. There aren't that many enemies that really stand in your way and hold you up. Geomancers are one of them because they can basically erect these barriers anywhere around you that can take a variety of formations. One of them just completely traps you, and if you get more than 1 Geomancer in one spot, sometimes you have nowhere to go.
Oh yeah, looks like Birdie's already activated the Skeleton Horseman. He got nothing from it besides armor. That might help him a little bit. Let's see if Yom activates it as well. Oh, it's gonna be a little bit.
And as far as enemies go throughout the level, they are appearing in basically the same places for both runners. So the enemies here, yep, there you go, Skeleton Horse Trap triggered by Yom as well. Yeah. It's basically the same layout of enemies and bosses. They just get to wander around a little bit as the player progresses through the level. So a lot of the time they'll be dealing with the same challenges.
Okay, let's see what he gets from the pig. He gets a low level bow. Okay, well, he already has a good bow, so he doesn't need it. He has a really good bow that's scattered with Fuse Shot.
You'll notice players also pick up occasional potions of swiftness, which can grant them a 30-second, I think, swiftness.
It's 20 seconds.
Yeah. Was 20 seconds. 20 seconds swiftness, which is more or less the same effect that the boots of swiftness give you. So if you have a boot, that can stack, or if you don't, then you just get a slightly longer duration effect, which can be. You can take advantage of it occasionally, but if you're stuck in an area like this where you have to beat a bunch of mobs, then you can get in melee range slightly faster, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Yam is catching up a good bit. He was 45 seconds behind just from getting the vendor, and now I think he's 20 seconds behind, it looks like, maybe a little bit more. So he's catching up a slight bit from the crossbow. It's just helping him kill a lot more enemies faster.
Yom, before IMEX record, was the previous world record holder, so he's had a lot of experience playing this game.
I think everyone in the tournament, besides Birdie, has held the record in this category now.
So Birdie really the underdog going into this matchup.
He is the underdog. He's our main mod of the server. He does basically everything. So he knows a lot about the game, but he doesn't run it as much as everyone else does. He's still very good at the game though.
Yom taking another death there, trying to sneak around some of the mobs in this last segment of the level, leading up to the ambush, which is kind of the end of the level. You've just got to fight through 4 waves of enemies before the gate unlocks and you can move on to the Desert Temple. You can see Birdi already making his way through that and doing a pretty good job of allowing creepers to do work for him there. A lot of creepers will spawn in these groups of enemies and they can just be used to take out other enemies if you position yourself right and roll away before you take the damage.
Yeah. I think on his bow, the unique bow that he got also has the 2 enchantments that we hope for. I think he has Accelerate and Dynamo on it.
Well, that's pretty great if it is, because, yeah, Accelerate obviously makes you shoot faster, and the faster you click, or rather, like, as you click, it builds up speed, so you can shoot faster and faster. Dynamo is... Why don't you explain Dynamo, actually, because there's some stuff people might not have heard about with this.
Okay, so standard Dynamo is just every time you dodge roll, you get like 7 or 8 more damage to your next shot. So if you dodge like 50 times, you can get like an insta-kill to the boss, but you have to dodge a ton. But what we do with Torment Quiver is a big glitch with it. We can jump just 1 time, and then instead of it doing 7 or 8 more damage, it does 500 damage per hit, and it hits like 6 times. So if we just get a Dynamo enchantment with a bow, that saves tons of time, a minute per boss fight probably, just killing everything in the game. And all we have to do is get... The Torment Quiver takes souls, and every time you kill an enemy, you get 1 soul. There's a small bar at the bottom of the screen that fills up to like 300 or 400 now. And all we have to do is get 30 kills to start activating some soul items.
Yeah, so the Torment Quiver is probably the main thing people will be looking for when they go into the next level Desert Temple. Birdi already making his way through the level, having picked up a tasty wheat from the end of level chest, which will, I believe, summon a llama pet. So not full pet strats here, not rocking the dog and the llama at this stage, but 1 out of the 2. And pets can actually be more useful than you might expect on a run like this. They're not going to make you physically move any faster, but they can distract other enemies. They can potentially take out enemies if you need to gain XP. I would presume once you have soul artifacts or weapons, then they play a bit of a role in soul gathering as well. So there's not really much harm in having one of those with you. And equipping it is always going to add to your player power level, which means there's a higher chance of you picking up higher level gear.
Now, most of the time it doesn't cause harm, but it can activate Enderman, and that could ruin your day sometimes.
Yes, yeah, that is also true. The key room there looked a little bit rough. It looks like we've got a couple of Necromancer spawns and Skeleton Guards. The Necromancers on this level are a real pain because they will just keep summoning enemies. Once you defeat the enemies they summon, they just summon more. So, yeah, a lot of the time you want to take those out, even if it costs you a little bit of time, because otherwise you're just going to be stuck behind a wall of zombies before long.
I think both hunters did a really good job of clearing the key area. Yom has that really good bow still, so he's had to shoot him a few times. And then Birdi used that glaive, I think, and just wiped him out.
Oh, and a Necromancer and an Enderman right there on the steps. That is a rough spawn for those mobs. It's gonna force Birdi to step back a little bit and deal with all of these zombies. And yep, the Necromancer is still sending more in their direction.
Alright, I don't think Birdi got anything good. Let's see if Yom gets anything decent. Oh, he gets a Soul Knife, level 7. That's gonna help him out. He's gonna clear that hallway a lot better than Birdi did.
Yeah, the Soul Knife actually got a bit of a buff between the first release of the game and the patch that these runners are playing on. Yom picks up a lower level glaive and some TNT from the pig, yeets the TNT off the side of the bridge, and you can see he's already making his way towards that Necromancer instead of having to drop back. Looks like he might also have knocked the Enderman off the bridge, saving a little bit of time dealing with that while... Oh no, maybe it just teleported. It's difficult to tell with those guys.
It just teleported away, I think.
And you can see Birdi now...
it just teleports and leaves you alone. He's still fighting it right now.
Yeah, Birdi is making his way into the same area. Yom still a little bit behind on the timer, but definitely making up some ground here. And yeah, both players still having to deal with the Enderman as they make their way through these very enemy-filled corridors. This is pretty rough as far as Desert Temple goes.
Yeah, both runners have the Enderman targeted to them. I think Birdi might have just lost it from sheer luck. Yeah, he's not hitting him anymore.
Oh, and no, it's back.
Okay.
It seems to be joining in with this ambush. Yom's already dealt with that. I don't think he got anything super valuable from the Enderman, but maybe if we see him... yeah. So obviously TNT is going to help you clear enemies a little bit faster, and in some cases it can be pretty valuable for clearing ambushes very quickly, but In this case, the enemies spawn quite spread out, and there can be necromancers that will spawn more, so a little bit difficult to deal with. Both players actually taking a death on this ambush. It's really rough if you have low-level gear at this stage, which both of them, I think, have been forced to use since they haven't gotten a better armor since about Creeper Woods.
Yeah. I think both players have level 1 armor, it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's... I saw Yom's mercenary armor as level 1. I didn't see the wolf armor, but I presume so since it was picked up at level 1.
Yeah, anyway, it's just not good. No, they have no speed. Nothing's happening. Well, Birdi has Swiftfoot, saving a little bit of time on Yom, but Yom has better combat gear. He's just got that soul knife and that bow. And here comes a pig. This is the third chance of getting something good in this level.
And it looks like Birdi picked up a Torment Quiver while Yom got a Grim Armor. Now, Birdi obviously really well set up here to take advantage of that Torment Dynamo glitch we mentioned. And Yom just not having a great deal of luck with either gear or this Enderman.
Wow, it has Purple Storm with Dynamo. Birdi got a really good drop from the pig. That's crazy.
Yeah, the Purple Storm is the one that has Accelerate built into it, right?
That one is like Rapid Fire. It's like Accelerate, but worse.
Yeah, so it's there are lighter versions of some of the enchantments you can get for gear that are just baked into some of the unique loot that you can get. So, yeah, oftentimes you'll find really good combinations of gear that way.
Looks like Yama's taking it out pretty fast. Not insta-kill fast like Birdi will. Let's see how Birdi does it.
Yep, nice and clean.
Shoots him once.
And a mechanical short bow from Nameless One as well.
Well, they both took it out about the same time. Yeah, he didn't even lose much time because Birdi had to go get some souls, I believe.
Yeah, but you can now see the difference in speed. Birdi making it to the door there before Yom has even had a chance to climb the stairs. And Birdi also going for the dialogue skip at the end of each of these levels, which I think so far Yom has either elected not to do or has just decided to play it safe and not risk the possibility of quitting back to camp.
Yeah, I was talking to him before the stream, and he messed it up once and went back to camp without doing it, so he doesn't want to do it live to miss like 4 minutes. That'd be tragic.
He's just gonna curse himself at this point, yeah.
Ooh, Birdi getting 2 Torment Quivers and Yom getting 2 Totems of Shielding. That is not what you want to see at all.
Yeah, Yom picking up a couple of enchantments on a Gravebane before heading off to Redstone Mines. The main goal of Redstone Mines is just to complete the level so you can make it through to Fiery Forge. And do you want to explain the category a little bit here? Because I think the category was renamed recently to No Levels Early, but do you want to explain what Levels Early means?
Yeah, Levels Early is we can use a controller to like skip 3 or 4 levels in the game. Basically, all we do is we make it to we do Creeperwood, skip boots, and then we do Desert Temple to get the Torment Quiver, and then Redstone Mines, and then we can kill the final boss. So we can skip like 15 minutes of the entire game if we just use a controller to skip through it. Using a controller and mouse in this game breaks a lot of the stuff, and we can just get crazy skips. Like we can go through walls with the controller. But we're not doing that in this tournament. That was found out 2 days before we were hosting this tournament, so
yeah. People hadn't really had time to prepare for it, and to be honest, I think it's a little bit more entertaining if people get to see like a little bit more broad range of what this game has to offer. But that does of course mean that in order to unlock Fiery Forge and Desert Temple, players have to play through Redstone Mines and Cacti Canyon. And you won't see them doing that in that order because getting the Torment is usually the way you can get through some of the bosses on levels like these a lot faster.
Yeah. It's just... Oh, we can also change the difficulty down to level 1. So all the enemies die in 1 hit on level skip. So there's a few practically cheats that we do with the controller just to make the game insanely easy on any percent versus no level skip.
When I first played this game, I played it when it came out, so I was playing the level, like the day 1 version of this game, and Obsidian Pinnacle used to be a little bit harder. I think it has been made easy since, but playing it on difficulty 1 isn't actually possible unless you use this level skip cheat, basically, or exploit. I shouldn't say cheat, it's not really like built into the game.
It's not a cheat.
Yeah, if you skip levels and you can go into Obsidian Pinnacle on level 1, you'll find the enemies die so much faster than they do when you're playing through on, a standard run where you're supposed to have pretty high level gear by that stage. so runners can go in with basically whatever gear they want and still have a fighting chance.
Yeah. Looks like Birdie's already finishing up the Fiery Forge boss, and he's just returned to camp right now, and Yams just has to keep slowly walking by all the zombies. He has a really bad pathway, it looks like.
And redstone mines can be pretty rough because there are mob spawners dotted throughout the level. It looks like Yom's only speed accessory right now is going to be that death cap mushroom, so he's using that when he can to get away, but looks like he's going to have to beat down the redstone golem with the weapons he's got as well.
He has a strength potion on, so he does double damage right now, and he also has the glitch where he can just stand still and kill him. That's only in patch 1.5 that Yom's running in. I think Birdie's running in 1.4 right now.
Yep, Yom quitting the level as well, and Birdie is already collecting a few souls at the beginning of this level, and that's going to make things a little bit easier going through Fiery Forge. I get confused between those two levels because they're relatively similar in terms of theme, but yeah, Fiery Forge obviously has long corridors of enemies and some pretty tough like sub-bosses. You find redstone golems, which are the boss of the previous level, just spawning as like mid-level mini-bosses. So it's easy enough to dodge around them if you know what you're doing, but if you need to stand and fight, if you get cornered for whatever reason, having a Torment Dynamo combo is going to get you out of pretty much any situation at this stage.
Yeah, this level that they're coming into right now is not a fun level to do casually if you are under-leveled, that is. So speedrunning it, you can die a lot. They have, like if you see on Birdie right now, they have tons of archers. Geomancers. You can just get walled off completely if you're unlucky, because like 6 or 7 of them can spawn, and you can just not move at all.
Not only that, but there is a section later in the level, which I think Birdie is just about making his way up towards now, where you have to find and activate a bunch of these forge cores, which, you know, release this blast wave when you click on them, and then there are 8 of them that you have to find in basically like a labyrinth. There's a sort of procedurally generated maze in here, and sometimes the cores can be in a pattern where you can activate all of them pretty quickly, but sometimes they're spread out in all sorts of different areas, and you're having to use the map overlay that you see both runners using right now just to find your way around to each of the individual objectives.
Yeah, he's coming up on them right now, and the cores can be in anywhere from opposite ends of hallways, making you lose like a minute and a half maybe, or they could just be in one straight line to the exit. To be like 10 or 12 seconds. This level is like really seed dependent. You can lose so much time on it just from having bad luck. It's always down to the cores, is what it really is.
Looks like these are spread out into, yeah, a couple of different areas. Birdie falling through a section of the level there, even though despite being able to handle pretty much any of the enemies at this stage, it is occasionally the case that you can just take a hit from a redstone golem and fall into a pit or something, and that won't kill you outright. You just lose a little bit of health and respawn, but it does cost a little bit of time when you just have to wait around for your character to return.
Yeah, Birdie just happened to turn around and kill that redstone golem because he has the infinite damage glitch on right now. So he can just turn around and one-tap anything he doesn't like. He just did the massive harvester explosion too. Normally we don't use the harvester at all in the rounds.
Yeah, the harvester is another soul-based artifact, and so presumably using that repeatedly will cost you souls, but if you've already got the torment quiver active, you don't really need to worry about that.
Yeah, as long as Bird doesn't die again, he will have one more shot for the boss, it looks like. Yeah.
And one shot is all he's going to need.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I think he has to roll 6 times, but he already has like 7 of them or 8 of them built up right now, so he should easily be able to one-shot this boss.
I'm going to roll up Birdie's volume, and since it looks like Birdie is taking the lead at this stage, we'll get to see the next level as it happens, because next up is going to be High Block Halls, where a lot of runs go to die if they make it out of Creeper Woods.
Yeah, a lot can go wrong here. We've seen, I think, 3 or 4 runs in this tournament just like swap places from first to second, because this is the hardest level in the game. There's a lot of RNG, a lot of skill based in this level, and gear matters so much. And besides the Torment Quiver, I don't think Birdie has great gear, which Yom, he has to fight everything, so his gear is getting pretty high level. He might be able to come back here, but Birdie might just game over in High Block. We would not like to see it.
And a lot of the high block, you know, the stuff that you look for in high block is going to depend on how a certain tile in the middle of the level goes, right? So, because there are two different ways this tile can go, and most of the time, from what I've seen, it seems to be an ambush, but the run, you know, runners look for one that has a key segment, right?
Yeah, so we can either get a key, which is grab the key and hit the key door. That's simple. It takes like 12 or 15 seconds, depending if you get hit or not and lose the key. Or you can get a ambush that takes, at minimum, 1 minute and 30 seconds. So we obviously look for the one that takes like 10 to 15 seconds and not just having to fight all these enemies. And if we have low-level gear, like the runners do today, we can die a lot in the ambush.
And as you've just seen, it's not easy to get through the rest of the level either. Birdi taking an early death here in high block, and Yom has just picked up a Swiftfoot armor, so potentially you could see him gaining a little bit of time once he makes his way out of this level, having to fight the redstone monstrosity very slowly, though. Isn't this the boss that has the highest HP out of the base game, give or take the secret level?
This is the highest HP enemy in the game, so if you can't kill this boss fast, it loses a lot of time. I think Yam's going to take a minute on this fight, if not more, and that Torment Quiver is really showing how much time it's saving over not having it.
So Yom picks up a power bow, still defeats the boss nice and easily. All 3 of his lives left is going to head off towards High Block Hall, and it does look like it's an ambush. From what I can see on Birdi's screen, we are looking at an ambush here.
An ambush, yep. There's 1 minute and 30 seconds. Yeah, and whenever we speedrun this game normally, we just kind of, if we get this is a dead run. This is like the worst part of speedrunning the game. It's 20 minutes in, and you just die just by getting this tile. It's not fun.
Yeah. Looks like Birdi is even using a soul robe at this point, which is not a particularly good piece of armor, but in this case, it's going to allow him to gain a few extra souls if he wants to use the Torment a little bit more, and it's just going to be higher level than what he's working with already.
Yeah, getting those extra souls is going to help him out tremendously, just from having the insta-kill Torment. That's all he cares about. So getting more of that is what he's looking for here.
Meanwhile, Yom has made it to High Block Hall, is obviously running pretty far behind at this stage, but with that swift-footed armor, and it looks like it might be even a slightly higher level Swiftfoot, because he's able to roll before the effect runs out. And a lot of the time when you get effects on these armors, if the first level effect can't really be like multiplied, like the Swiftfoot effect isn't going to make you twice as fast, it's just going to reduce the cooldown time. So with some of the weapons and armor and artifacts, you're going to find that higher level stuff, you can just use the effect more frequently.
The armor he has is really good. It's because Birdi's going to keep dying probably once or twice more because of his low level 1 armor. But the mercenary armor is really good for fighting. There's a lot of fighting at this level. So Yom can come back just from battling alone, and he probably won't take any deaths. Or he's almost dead as I say that. But
yes, but he has already made it to the ambush, though, which I think is significantly faster than how Birdi made it here.
Yeah, he made it to the ambush without dying. That's the key part. This armor just makes you not die as much, and it makes you do a little bit more damage per hit.
It looks like he's also got the bees to help him out with this this ambush. So Yom already going for bee percent. Yeah, the bees there are going to be potentially helpful in, once again, taking out additional enemies in large groups like this, and also distracting the enemy's attention, since they do spawn as, like, effectively little mini players that the enemies are going to target.
Yeah, the bees are really good at distractions. We use them in a category called B%. It's just like a little small fun meme category. If you have like swarms of them, like 15 of them, yeah, you can kill bosses with them, but they're just really good at distracting enemies while you hit them from behind and just kill them.
Birdi actually making really good time here getting through the later stages, probably just thanks to that Torment Quiver coming through, because yeah, a lot of sections of this level just require you to stand and fight a lot of stuff, but with the addition of a couple of faster artifacts and armor, plus all of the firepower, it looks like he's actually making it through without taking too many deaths, which is good because this level ends in, I think, a 7-wave ambush. So
a 7-wave ambush of the hardest enemies in the game.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, like this is why it's the hardest level in the game. Birdi's actually going back for some reason. Oh, he went the wrong way. Okay.
The objective marker can be a little bit hard to track, and it doesn't really show you the objectives on the map. And if there's so much stuff that's going on screen, it can be a little difficult to keep track of exactly where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, I think Birdi has 2 lives left now, and Yom has all of his lives. This is exactly what Yom needs to catch up with. Birdi has to keep taking it slow and cautious, and Yom, because he has good level gear and that mercenary armor, he can just keep running full speed and not hope for anything. Oh my god. Birdi just got a harp, and now he can do an infinite glitch with the infinite damage combo and just keep using the tournament over and over and over again. This is exactly what we're hoping to find in High Block Halls. And Birdi is really good with this infinite glitch. We're just going to see this 7-wave ambush is going to be so fast.
Yeah, I had this explained to me last time, so I think I can pretty much explain how it works. The animation for having multiple arrows fire out of a single weapon, which the lightning harp crossbow allows you to do. A scatterbow would do the same thing. It's just the unique version of the scatterbow. Basically, it fires 3 arrows, but it fires them ever so slightly after each other. So if you can cancel your animation before the 3rd arrow fires, it won't count as having fired an arrow. So effectively, anytime you see him turning really quickly after using an arrow, he is stopping a 2nd arrow from firing, which then actually allows him to infinitely use the torment arrows, which would otherwise be limited.
Yep, it's just, it sounds kind of complicated. It's just clicking left and right click back to back after you shoot. Yeah, it's just a small little animation cancel that gives us infinite damage and infinite bullets. Fun. Looks like Birdi is going to be continuing his lead, just making it further and further. Yom's doing a really good job, but Birdi's just breaking the game with what he has in his inventory right now.
Yes, Yom unfortunately hasn't got any of the stuff that he needs to do some of the easier tricks to get through these ambushes, but to his credit, he is surviving this pretty well, just thanks to the fact that he's got some higher level equipment and is able to take some of the more punishing hits from those guards. Does take a death from them, just trying to get through this as fast as possible and deal as much damage as he can.
I think Birdi's almost done with the ambush, and Yom just, he's on his 2nd wave now?
Yeah, I think he's just defeated the wave with all of the guards, and this is probably the 2nd, possibly the 3rd. He did also have a Wraith behind him on the wall, but I don't know if that was part of one of these waves, or more likely it's just followed him in from the next room. I have run into a couple of issues with areas of this before, where if an enemy gets outside of the bounds of an arena and can't get back in, then you softlock and you can't progress, but hopefully that's not what's happened to Yom here.
Yeah, no, you can get soft locked in this game quite in like 5 or 6 different ways. I think they fixed most of the ways in this patch, but there's still 1 or 2 ways. We saw Cookie, I think, lost the key in this version.
Yes. Yeah.
If you lose the key, you just have to reset the level. In later versions, it just respawns in if it's not on the map, but in this version, if it's not on the map at all, you're done.
Yeah. And occasionally you do find, I think this game was, it was pretty common to find glitches early on where enemies would just like drop through the geometry of the level. They'd like clip through a wall kind of funny and then just fall out of the world. So yeah, the fact that the key can do it too is pretty terrible if it happens to you.
Yeah, a bunch of speedrunning glitches in patch 1.0 was not fun to run. In Obsidian Pinnacle, we would get stuck floating in midair after using these launch pads, and just using these launch pads casually were not fun. You could just get launched off the map and die. Just a ton of stuff you wouldn't want.
Yeah, I remember a couple of glitches where those pads wouldn't even work. Like, they wouldn't have collision with the player. You would just end up falling into them, and then you couldn't progress either. And that's why I was so excited seeing these runs for the first time and seeing how often players will use the logs at the side of these platforms to roll to other platforms, because that's what I was trying to do the entire time when the jump pads wouldn't work.
Yeah, the jump pads were hell. They were not good at all back in the day. I'm so glad that developers fixed the jump pads. That was my number one complaint with the game.
And Yom actually making his way to Obsidian Pinnacle a little bit faster than I was expecting, probably once again just thanks to that good gear he's got now, and making his way through the level relatively quickly thanks to Swiftfoot. But once again, you can see Birdi just making short work of these enemies, mowing down everything in his path as soon as he has access to the Torment Quiver.
Yom has Swiftfoot Feather, and that's very, very good. That is faster than what Birdi has, but Birdi just has the infinite damage, so it might not come down to the speed at all. It's just come down to fighting.
And of course, having the infinite Torment and Torment Dynamo combo is going to mean the final boss comes down very easily, and it's a pretty difficult fight if you don't have that setup. It's certainly not impossible. We've seen runners do it plenty of times, but the final fight of Obsidian Pinnacle, the last boss of the game, can be pretty unpredictable, even if you've played this game before.
Yeah, back in the later patches of the game, it had that massive laser beam in the second phase that used to kill you almost instantaneously. I'm grateful that the devs also turned down the difficulty of this level, making it just a lot easier. Because
yeah, they've nerfed it a little bit.
Yeah, Birdi has level 1 armor. If he gets hit by that laser beam at all, he would be dead in that version. But he does almost what, like 30-40% less damage with that laser beam now, and it feels so nice just to not be dying instantaneously just because you have that gear.
And for anybody who hasn't messed around with the armor in this game before, the armor is basically what increases your health. You start out with a base of, I think, 100 health, and then any armor you get, like the higher level it is, the more HP it's going to provide, and different armors sort of scale differently depending on their power level. Yom going for the corridor skip and unfortunately missing that one. This is just going to skip a hallway down there that you can go through, but has a lot of tough enemies. Yep, it makes it the second time. Nice. Yeah, the higher level armor is going to get you higher level HP, and so you're not going to see HP in the thousands until you get onto the next level of difficulty. But in the meantime, only having level 1 armor, I think, only gets your health up to like the 120s range. It's really not much.
Yeah, level 1 armor, you take the same amount of damage and you just get a little bit more HP. The good thing about Yom's armor is I think he gets probably like 40 or 50 more HP because it's higher level, and it also gives you, I think it's 35, maybe 30% damage reduction. So that's really good armor for any kind of speedrun. You just don't die and you have more HP. So you can see he's at full HP right now almost, and he has three lives left, while Birdi has to slow down more to dodge hits and kill stuff.
Birdi also has one of my favorite enchantments. It's not particularly useful, but there's an enchantment called Growing, which, or is that Yom who had that? I couldn't quite tell for a second. I think it's Birdi, where the arrow grows in size and deals more damage when it hits the target, but it also, if it doesn't take down something in one hit, leads to enemies just having arrows the size of like a house embedded in them, which just looks comedic as all heck.
Okay, Birdi right now on the final boss, charging up his dynamo. Yom's also just climbing the stairs right now. This is very close.
And Birdi doing the smart thing and saving 2 Torment Arrows for the final boss, which has 2 phases, one of the Arch-Illager and Heart of Ender. Blink and you'll miss it, because it's gone now.
Alright. You think we should just let Yom fight this out, see how well he does?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see the difference between these 2 boss fights, because that was pretty textbook for Birdi. You'll see Yom having a slightly slower Arch-Illager fight, and you'll get to see a little bit more of the dynamics of this boss fight.
He
so the
has
first
elite power though, I think, so he's just charging it up.
Yeah.
It's faster to charge up full shots and just fire it off that way.
And he also has Growing on it now as well, which is going to increase the damage. So the first phase of this fight, he can summon a bunch of adds to, give you extra targets, but the Arch-Illager just teleports around and just kind of throws projectiles at you. It's not especially difficult to deal with, but then the Heart of Ender moves so differently, and Yom doing a pretty good job of taking it out without taking a death there. Those laser beams can be very difficult to avoid, and even after the nerf, they still do a whole heck of a lot of damage.
And
all right.
That's Yom's time.
So that is our times. We have a win for Birdi there with just under, a scrape under 36 minutes.
Hello again.
Hey, welcome back,
wow.
folks, and congratulations to Birdi for 35:59, the final time. So, yeah, basically a full minute and a half faster than Yom. But, yeah, Yom, you were getting some rough luck on gear there, whereas I think Birdi had it all.
That's what we call birdie luck, and not surprising. It only
Yeah,
runs
you
once.
guys were you guys were climbing the stairs at like probably 20 or 30 seconds apart, but he just had the tournament and one shot
Oh.
the boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll do.
Y'all must have had a boot
Did he get a
then.
boot?
No, you guys both got death cap. You guys were
Oh.
just like slowly creeping together the entire time. But
I was
then
playing
Birdi,
it pretty safe, so it was
yeah,
high block on because I had Torment. I farmed
yeah.
a lot.
Birdi had level 1 armor, you had higher level armor, so he had to play it safe, and he just had torment, so that was how it went.
There you go. I found
Yeah,
I found that scatterbow early. I thought that was like, you know, lining up for a good run.
Yeah, level 4 one with fuse shot.
Yeah, but if I picked up torment or firework or anything, that would have been
You
good.
would have won.